And we are live. It is October 8th, 2025. Another episode of the Post Republic here. I'm Adrian with my co-hosts Steve, Joe, and Tyler. And Tyler's got what's going on in this world.
Yep. Got the rundown here. If I could just control the music. There we go. Okay. We got the rundown. The federal government is still shut down, while half of IRS employees are officially furloughed. James Comey arraignment today. He has pled not guilty to giving false testimony under oath. Democrat nominee for Virginia Attorney General Jay Jones' text messages were leaked shows him wishing for the death of his political opponents and their children, saying they're breeding little fascists. Even MSNBC is demanding he be forced to drop out of the race. I got an immigration update. Trump administration is on track to deport 600,000 illegal immigrants in the year of 2025. Over 400,000 illegal invaders have been deported, while 2 million illegals have self-deported. Leftist arrested at an event at a church in Washington, D.C. with over 200 explosives said he wanted to kill the Supreme Court judges, some of who were in attendance. Manifesto reveals hatred for Christians, Jews, and ICE. D.C. police officers are stepping forward to disclose that supervisors downgraded violent crimes to minor offenses. A suspect has finally been arrested for California Palisades fire. Leftist streamer Hassan Piker forces his dog to sit in the frame of his stream by shocking him into submission. And finally, P. Diddy is sentenced to 4 years in prison. And the last one here, President Trump calls for Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson to be jailed for their failure to protect ICE officers. And the National Guard arrives in Chicago. So, with all that being said, what you guys got?
Well, it's just a continuation of everything that's happened. I mean, Charlie Kirk's death hasn't stopped anything. If anything, it's actually accelerated it. You know, we were talking about this in the group chat, but I mean, I can't even I follow this stuff and I can't even keep track of all the leftist violence. I mean, he could have blown up all the Supreme Court justices, you know, if that had gone through. The ICE shooting, the shooting of the ABC building. And then also this guy, what's his name? Jay Jones, the Virginia Democrat Attorney General, openly saying, I want to see my opponent or Republicans' children murdered in front of him.
Yeah.
They're breeding little fascists. I mean, fascist is just code word for you can kill this person. That's their dog whistle. They like to use that term, but that's what that is. So I think the big thing that just keeps hitting me is like they're going for broke, man. I mean, it's when you corner a demon and you say, "Hey, holy shit, you guys are demonic." They're not changing course. They're doubling down. And it's kind of terrifying, to be honest with you.
Well, they're losing power. So this is what you can expect. It's not going to get better anytime soon, no matter what. I think I ran through what I think Trump's plan is in my chat and on X and everything and on my show. But I think that Trump's getting ready to do the Insurrection Act after today. That was the point of that roundtable about Antifa. Once he does that, that opens up the National Guard to be used for all sorts of things other than just guarding national property. And J.B. Pritzker basically backed me up and alluded to it yesterday when he said that he'll come for the voting rolls and machines and stuff that they keep refusing to turn over because they know there's fraud. So it's going to get interesting, guys.
What does the Insurrection Act actually do?
Well, he invoked... it's called the he used one law to be able to send them to protect the just the general buildings that are federally owned and assist federal employees, let's say. But the Insurrection Act kind of announces that there is kind of an overthrowing or obstruction of the government, be it state, local, federal, whatever. And that's what we're seeing right now. They'll block them. They'll try to ram them. They'll try to pull guns on them. They assault them, so on and so forth. The place in Portland, all the windows are broke out. And then the local authorities are like, oh, the ordinance says you can't have wood on the windows. It's an insurrection. That's the definition of. I got a post on X that I just made earlier today that pretty much lays it out. But let me see if I can find it. Here we go. The law that it's the Posse Comitatus Act, 18 USC 1385 is the one he used in California. And that's the one that allows them to just basically guard property. And the definition of insurrection is a rising against a civil or political authority or the established government, open and active opposition to the execution of law in a city or state. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So he'll be he's been holding it off. He's been jumping through hoops. I don't know do you want me to put the post up?
Sure.
Try to explain it better. Let's see if I can do it.
Yeah, and on Grok, I just grokked what is the Insurrection Act. It says the Insurrection Act of 1807 is a U.S. federal law that allows the president to deploy military forces domestically to suppress insurrections, rebellions, or domestic violence, or to enforce federal laws when local authorities cannot or will not do so.
Yep.
And you see the open coordination that the police department and the city have with the people rioting. You know, where the ICE vehicle was, 10 people in cars, boxed them in, and they didn't, Chicago police wasn't going to respond. So they could have literally killed these guys, and the police was just going to let it happen.
Adrian, it went beyond they weren't going to respond. There's a dispatch call that's recorded where they said, do not respond.
Yeah.
They were specific.
And a picture of text, too, from some board that they use that said not to respond. So it's two things that they actually put out that said don't respond. So like they're pretty screwed. So this doesn't get any bigger, eh? Dang, sorry guys. Anyway, this is my take on it from what I've been researching, and I've been putting this out on my show. But Trump's play-by-play that I have laid out on my show and elsewhere, rightfully, this is the steps that he took. Rightfully used the Posse Comitatus Act, 18 USC 1385. I showed you how the wording can be construed to mean that Trump can do this. The part that they took issue with in California court, which it's whatever. The law allows for the use of the National Guard to protect federal assets when local law enforcement is unable to, which they won't be doing usually, and they don't. We've seen this, and not until there was word that he might invoke the Insurrection Act. Now in Portland, you see them out there doing things. Remember the police trapped under the overpass in CA, the police being told to stand down in Illinois, and the lack of action until last night in Oregon. And then 2, he knows that these jurisdictions are involved in said jurisdiction or insurrection. In other words, it's some of the judges, it's the police, it's the mayors, it's the governors. So he does it fully grasping that they will fight it in court and generally win, despite the judge's ruling being unconstitutional. This provides more evidence of an insurrection. But now there are officials and judges involved. The judge in Cali said Trump can't do it, but also allowed the NG to stay because the judge was probably on the fence as to how far they wanted to be drug into it. In Portland, he said he'd do the same thing or the same with the Oregon National Guard, knowing they would do the same. They did. So he selected Cali National Guard to go, knowing both states would fight that, providing more evidence of a coordinated insurrection. And they did. He did the same in Illinois, and they are doing the same. Not only are the optics bad for these officials, but they prove a coordinated effort to carry out an insurrection. He needed to take all of these steps as influencers were screaming for action right now because he follows the law and he's methodical. And now he has proof of an insurrection because he's done all of these things, if that makes sense.
Is that also why he sent Texas National Guard to Chicago to show, oh, they're going to actually follow through? Look, this is coordinated to be political.
I think so. I think the funniest move he made this entire time was sending the California National Guard to Portland, because he knew right away Gavin would pipe up and put himself right out there, fall into that trap being, I'm anti-law and order. We're going to block this. We can't have law and order in Portland, and that's what happened. So it shows like a nationwide insurrection taking place in all these cities. You can't argue with it, given the definition of insurrection. You know,
And with Antifa being designated a terrorist organization, that also, gives a second prong of
Yep.
justification.
Indeed.
So the Insurrection Act really just gives the president more authority to deploy troops.
So,
Yep, go ahead.
well, I have a clip I'd want to play if you guys want to say anything else before I do that. But it's basically Harrison Smith from Infowars. He reposted it. It was from, I want to say 2018 on Infowars, but they're talking about this very issue that we've seen with police coordinating with rioters and that it being documented. But I thought it was a really interesting look into it. But if you guys want to say anything else before I do that, it's just a couple minutes.
I just wanted to say one thing that, there's a lot of like constitutional, more libertarian leaning MAGA folks that don't like this type of stuff. That when Trump does this type of stuff, when he deploys the National Guard, they're always like, this is against the Constitution. What about federalism? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit tired of that. Like, he's breaking the Constitution, when really, like, the Constitution has kind of been dead for, I don't know, what, 60, 70, 100 years?
Not only is he following the Constitution, he's giving these people ample opportunity to do the right thing before he uses a law that exists forever in this country. It's not unconstitutional to send troops to prevent an insurrection. It's not. They just don't like it because a lot of these people are like, oh boy, this is the police state beginning, and all this nonsense, there's always got to be conspiracy.
Yeah, or the argument that, oh, well, this sets a dangerous precedent. Once they get back into the levers of power, they're going to use this against us.
Yeah, Jan 6, okay.
Man, I'm getting L's today, bro.
Because that argument is so, like, they already tried to kill Trump and arrest him and put Douglas Mackey in jail for a meme. And we could go on, but the precedent, they're going to set some horrible precedents regardless of what happens during Trump if they get back in 28. So use that power and crush it.
Now's the time. Yeah,
you have to.
They're already talking about it. They're saying when they win in 2027, they're going to come in and anyone who's given any kind of aid is going to be. And it's like, what are you doing?
The midterms. They're saying if they win the midterms, they're going to start holding.
But they haven't won them. And you're going out and you're making these foolish statements that we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then when we do something, we act proactively. Like, I don't understand the cognitive dissonance these people have, where you can, in one hand, celebrate, and there's tons of videos, all kinds of knuckleheads doing this, celebrate the raid on Mar-a-Lago, and then be mortified at the raid of James Comey. I don't understand the disconnect. And I mean, maybe it's because, I learned to read, my IQ is above room temperature, or I'm honest, but I don't understand it.
It's not a disconnect. It's quite intentional. It's very intentional because they know what they've already done and they know what they're looking at for having done so. So they're hoping they can win in the midterms before anything happens to them so that they can turn the boat around and start doing what they did to Trump the first time, which they shouldn't have done the first time. You see what I'm saying? It's very intentional. It's not a disconnect. That's very planned. They're scared.
Well, it's like
they're scared as hell, trying to act like he's not.
Tyler was saying he was saying the leftist violence, but that's the nature of leftism. There's never been a peaceful, turn of power to leftism. It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
it's always violent.
It really is. It was born out of violence, especially when you look into the French Revolution, is where really kind of where that terms left and right come from. And leftism at its very inception was extremely violent. They believed in a violent revolution to overthrow the monarchy, and they did. So it's a part of the definition of leftism is violence.
Well, is it any coincidence that they're the left? They're the left-hand path. instead of
Well-
seated at the right hand of. I mean,
Yeah.
and they are also demonically possessed.
Yeah.
Meaning sinister. I mean, it's not going to be. You got Pritzker saying they're going to cancel the elections. They've accused him of that since he got in 2016. Now he's going to cancel elections. He's going to cancel the election. But there's going to be serious legal issues with a lot of the candidates, I feel, by the time 2026 actually rolls around. A lot of these people are going to be tied up in litigation. I just saw that Katie Hobbs just relaunched her campaign for governor of Arizona again. Well, there's all kinds of questions with the legality of being there in the first place, because something about that stinks.
Well, and that's why they're nervous about the Insurrection Act. He could do exactly what J.B. Pritzker is nervous about, and he could send the National Guard to get voter rolls that they refuse to turn over, and it would be completely constitutional. So would the arrest of J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of New York or Chicago. So all of these things would be completely constitutional because they're actively and openly involved in an insurrection, and they have been since at least 2017.
Which is treason.
Yeah, it's been happening for over 10 years now. They stole an election. It's obvious now. There's proof of it all over the place. There has been, but there's even more now.
What's out in the open? You can talk about it now. Google's taken down their stance on YouTube. You can talk about it. You can show facts. Nothing makes me think that you're lying to me than you doing everything you can to take away my ability to say it.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know?
and I don't want to divert this conversation too much. And I'm not going to talk too much about the whole Candace Owens thing. The only thing I want to say about that is whatever. It's who knows what actually happened, blah, blah, blah. But the point that's really annoying me about that whole thing is it's diverting all of the energy from a lot of people on the right into basically true crime, conspiracy, almost entertainment, and taking away from the fact that it's not just Charlie Kirk, right? Look at what's happened since then. It's existential. At Charlie Kirk, who knows? Maybe it wasn't the guy they said it was. It doesn't matter. There are all these other people who are still acting violent openly. I can't get over that guy in Virginia. I mean, that is just so insane. I don't think a lot of Democrats, and I could be wrong, things may have changed, have called for him to step down. Like MSNBC may have, but I haven't seen a lot of pushback to that.
I think it was Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe.
Oh, he's been trying to ride that middle a little more for sure. But I mean, this guy, can you imagine that guy as Attorney General?
Top cop.
The
highest level of law enforcement,
saying that you want your political opponent's children to be killed. This is where we're at. I mean, you know, I think we talked a few shows ago about, and I was a little hesitant with the martial law, but do the Insurrection Act. I mean, they have to. People don't realize how existential we're already at. It's only going to get worse until it stops. There's no putting it back in the box. So the only way to do that is to use the force and power of the federal government to make it happen.
Let me push back a little bit, because I feel like everybody in the stream for the past few weeks has been kind of pro the idea of declaring martial law or using the Insurrection Act or using the federal government to actually use the power. I'm generally sympathetic to that idea of using the authority, be authoritarian. I want Trump to be authoritarian. I want him to be a little bit more fascist than he is. But I just kind of do. I'm hopeful, and in that we can still use political tools. So are we at the point where we do need to cramp down using the federal government, or can we just keep winning elections? I mean, the left is already cornered. They're battered and bruised. They got nothing to run on. I mean, we kind of got them in the corner. We got them on the ropes. Like, let's just politically destroy them.
Well, elections mean nothing if you can't use the power to do it, though. To actually, on the ground, look, and this is a 10th Amendment, states' rights versus federal you can win those elections, but as we're seeing, this is an on the ground issue that is states, cities, governors violating federal law. It's been going on since the sanctuary city first came into being. Should have never been allowed to happen. But now we're dealing with a fact that you're not able to actually enforce the law. Like, this is kind of that whole, and maybe it's a constitutional crisis, whatever you want to say. But to me, if you're in power, but it basically, your power is that's wrong, saying that's wrong in mean, strong worded letter, it falls flat,
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we can win elections, but at the same time, it kind of like what they're saying is like, okay, so Trump won an election. Has he not had to fight to the tooth and nail in court for every constitutional order that he's declared? That's, Congress can remove these judges. Everybody assumes that it's a lifetime appointment for these federal judges. It's not. If they're not acting in accordance with what their duties are supposed to be, which is follow the Constitution, and a lot of them aren't, they can be removed by Congress. And that's where I'm at. It's like, what is going on with Congress? They're more worried about doing these stupid show trials so they can get viral clips and basically be social media influencers than they are about doing what they need to be doing in Congress. You know what I mean? Remove these judges. They're approving Trump picks in mass numbers at once, 107, what was it, yesterday, all at once. But at the same time, they're not doing the things that's slowing up Trump's agenda. Like,
they're doing that on purpose. That's the thing. They're sandbagging him.
Yeah.
So to your guys' point, yeah, you can win elections. You can win elections in Iowa and Idaho and Ohio and Pennsylvania, but you're never gonna change the problem in Portland. That's been left to fester. It's an infection, and you can't elect out of that. They're not going to change. Chicago is not going to change. These are big cities. There's a lot of people. They're dug in on education. They're dug in so that the next generation coming up. So even if you were able to tamp it down just a little bit, it's gonna come back. You gotta solve the problem. You can't just paint over it.
You can't kill an idea, though. That's the
problem. And you can not, well, not the idea, but you can prevent the idea from spreading when it's like it is. Look at did you guys even see that a grand jury refused to indict those people that assaulted ICE officers and were found with guns in Illinois? Like, that's our federal justice system now. Like, it's all corrupt. If you don't fix this, you can vote right. And I don't, by right, I mean properly, for the right people all the time. And it's still going to be corrupt because our systems have been corrupted for so long, since before anybody on this screen were alive, and most people listening, that if Trump doesn't return us back to the republic, nothing's ever going to change. It'll just look nice for a while. That's kind of the issue.
So I'm an ideological incrementalist. I think that things can't happen overnight, and so what if it takes 50 years or 25 years to incrementally fix it and return it back to the republic that it should have been?
Yeah, we don't have that time. No. I think we're up against the wall. I mean,
let me ask you a question. Is Pluto a planet?
As far as I'm concerned, it's a damn planet.
Because we learned that when we were in school. So all the kids that are going through school right now, learning all this garbage, they're going to be indoctrinated, and it's not going to go away. You're never going to be able to change your mind. You have to stop it.
It's not just the indoctrination. It's the fact that you have literal tens of millions of people coming into the country, affecting the outcome of elections, potentially with voting, with becoming a citizen, with the economy, with your entire idea of your nation being erased slowly and then faster in front of your eyes. I mean, it's one of those things where we can't allow whatever needs to be done to make it extremely difficult for the Democrats to get back into power legally, passing voter ID, because I shudder to think what 2028 will look like, or 29 if Newsom's in there. I really do. So but outside of that, now's the time. I don't know how far it goes. If Trump goes full Article 2 president, he's just gonna, I mean, at a certain point, here's the thing: it's inevitable that that's going to happen. I mean, the norms, the incrementalism. Look at the Democrats; they're not being incremental, especially since 2020. They're not being incremental at all. So if you're incremental, you're at a disadvantage in that way. But also, it's not even being that extreme to just enforce the laws of your country. And that's what's so frustrating about how people characterize all this as fascist and authoritarian. You're just calling it fascist because the law is being enforced. You're literally saying, oh my God, they're bringing in National Guard and cops to stop crime. We don't do this in a democracy. I mean, this is where they're at.
He can't take them in to a city directly to stop crime in that city. He can only send them in currently until he declares the Insurrection Act to protect federal law, which is also stopping crime. But at the same time, like they're telling their people that he's doing the opposite. He's sending them into the city to arrest black people and blah, 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 blah. That's not the case whatsoever. So that's why they're worried about the Insurrection Act, because then they can go in and do all kinds of different things. And he, like I said, he's playing the long game with it as best as he can with the situation and the time frame that he has. And he's following the Constitution. He's given them ample opportunities to back off of the hole they're digging for themselves, and they're not doing it. You got to act when it's time, and to you guys' point too, like it is also our institutions. Think about who runs all the books, like the companies, the publishers for the books that our kids are given in school, college and stuff. It's all the left. Think about how narratives have shifted in those books in just like a generation. Like kids that graduated in the 80s had a whole different outlook on what this country was than the kids in the 90s. And then it just gets worse from there, and now kids in high school and younger think they're girls when they're boys, and they think that capitalism in the USA is bad before they even reach college at this point. That's how corrupt it's gotten. So it's going to take drastic and swift actions that are constitutional, which he's done so far, to fix all this, or I've been saying it forever. If we don't fix all this leftist crap and all the everything that runs our lives, and if we don't take care of that and even that balance, nothing's ever going to change. It's just going to look different. So we got to do something.
Let me ask you, when you say we got to fix it, right? So it's kind of like what we want to do is just go in and root it out. Like we just want to pull out the foundations of it and get rid of it. Right? We want to destroy the idea of leftism or just the ideology itself. How do you do that? Or what's your prescription? I guess I'm asking, Joe. What do you mean when you say fix it? Well, we've been talking about the Insurrection Act and stuff like that. And I guess when it comes to education, what do you do? Are you kind of in favor of abolishing
teachers unions? Yes.
Well, or abolishing universities, or
I don't think the federal government should be funding universities. I don't speak out against a lot of what Trump does, because I generally agree with most of what he does. But if you recall, about a month ago, he was like, "Oh, we have to bring in Chinese students to help these colleges survive." I was like, "No, we don't. These colleges need to either swim or sink. That's the way it is. And if what you're selling is just a bunch of social justice bullshit for $200,000 a degree, for a degree that isn't going to go anywhere in life most times, then down you go. That it is what it is. We don't need to be bailing them out anymore. And these schools at the local level, like your elementary and your high schools, those are federally run and owned and paid for. The feds have more, the unions kick and scream because unions were all started by communists and socialists. People don't know that, and they get mad when you say it. But it's the truth. And these unions kick and scream whenever Trump asserts his authority as the president. But that is he's in charge of these things. He's the president. Congress also has power in it. But if we don't start, if he doesn't start telling these schools, like, you're going to have to, you're going to have to even out your educational balance here. It can't be all one-sided. We don't need your propaganda hanging on the walls in the classroom, things like that, or we'll defund you. They're going to keep doing it. And then at that point, generations of kids aren't going to be normal. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my point is he's got about 4 years and then hopefully JD Vance wins in another 8 years to get this situation under control. But I think they're trying to do it within that 4 years. You know what I mean?
Well, universities, it's funny. It's basically a giant jobs program at this point. It's a fake part of the economy, and a large percentage of it shouldn't even exist. They're just sucking up student loans and government funds and all this, and nobody likes the product. Millennials and primarily millennials and Gen Z have been totally screwed over by that system. But the problem is, if you fully shut that down, you will disrupt the economy to some extent, because I mean, towns are built around that giant small college towns, like Mac schools, not the big ones that people want to go to. Kids just going to college because that's what you do.
Colleges even, yeah.
I mean, it would totally disrupt the entire their entire setup, which I'm completely in favor of. But I'm just trying to put it in the perspective of why Trump may be hesitant to do that, because it would disrupt the economy, which unfortunately a lot of it is fraud and bullshit.
I think one of the more I turned my mic up on accident. I think one of the more interesting things that happened over the past 24 hours was him diverting funds to the WIC program from the tariffs. And I was right off the bat, I was like, he's showing everybody, like he's showing everybody that you don't need taxes. And then within 24 hours from there, they announced that there's going to be a bunch of IRS workers furloughed. I'm hoping we're on the right path to restoring the republic to the way that it was supposed to be, because that's the way it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? It wasn't supposed to be where you work your butt off to pay taxes for the government, who then builds half a bridge to nowhere and then, looks at you and says, well, we tried, we ran out of money, we're going to raise your taxes a little more to finish it. It was supposed to be paid for by other countries sending products here and buying our products and so on.
So, I mean, that's why they push so hard for the Department of Education. There's no reason that anyone in California should have any say over what my child in Ohio is learning, unless you're trying to churn out bad ideas and make them mandatory across the country. Kids need to know how to read, how to write, how to add. They really should know about things like compound interest and usury, but they're not taught that because nobody would take a college loan. So a lot of what is supposed to be done on the state and local level has been wrestled away to the federal government. The federal government is supposed to produce currency, supposed to maintain a border, and have relations with foreign countries. Everything else is kind of supposed to be at the state level. But it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like you would like a long march through the institutions in the reverse.
Yeah.
I think we just need a very quick march. A run, if you will, through the institutions. A sprint. Because we don't have that kind of time. I mean,
But what if we do, though? Because I do feel like there is a tendency in the political world to have a sense of urgency, like we've only got, if we lose this election, it's over. You know what I mean? It's almost like a fear mongering, like especially the left does it, but the right does it too. And I think that, I've been talking about this for a long time, more of a broader point of identifying threats, but identifying them properly. And so I guess my question, I'm just kind of just brainstorming here. How much time do we have? I guess, how pressing, how urgent, how much time do we have here?
So realistically, taking out vacations, because Congress only works about a month and a half a year, taking out that, and then figuring in campaigning next year for the midterms, probably got about a month. 30 days of actual work that isn't going to be tied up with renaming post offices. It's not going to be tied up with hearings. Maybe 30 days before the midterm to actually get things through. And they've sandbagged the agenda so hard. And you cannot tell me it's an accident. These people know what they're doing. The people at the top, your Chuck Schumers, your Mitch McConnells, your Lindsey Grahams, none of this is an accident. He got in. They said, okay, we're just going to dig our heels in and make sure as little as possible gets done. It comes back to, I was thinking about this earlier today. There's people losing their mind. Oh my God, we don't want ICE. That does not matter because he is enforcing federal law based on a campaign promise he made that won him not only electoral college, but the popular vote that shifted every demographic across the board, okay, towards Republicans for the first time since I think Nixon. Okay, it's been kind of bleeding towards Democrats, and for the first time, it's going the other way. It's what the majority of what people want, and we're starting to see fraud. We're seeing fraud. That guy in Iowa, that superintendent, he was registered to vote, but you can't register to vote. They say, well, he managed it, and it wasn't just him. And every time a story comes up, they say, oh, well, it was just that one time. But I've heard about 100 just that one time. And those are just the ones that I've encountered. So you have to start questioning, and then you wonder, I mean, we know why. We're adults, but you wonder, why are they so insistent that we count illegals in our census? Well, that skews our representation. But then we're not getting represented. Now we're paying the taxes as citizens. We're doing our due diligence. We're paying the taxes and doing the different things that we're supposed to do, registering for selective service. Anyone who turns 18 is registering for the draft. Illegals aren't. The different things. And then we're not seeing the benefits. So we're struggling. We might be living near the poverty line, and we're not getting debit cards with thousands of dollars in food and all these different things that they're getting, free education, grants to open businesses. It's just not coming our way. So there's a frustration that's built up among the American people. Now the news is focused, both sides of the news is focused on the people who are freaking out about ICE. Okay, because it's sensational. That's what's going to bring you in eyeballs. But that is not the prevailing feeling of most people. In fact, do you know that most legal immigrants are really for ICE? Because they went through the process the right way, and they don't want to see people do it, just come in and get all kinds of stuff that they didn't get. They came in, they learned the language, they took the test, and they want to build a life. That's what we should be encouraging. I want to be very clear. I'm very pro legal immigration. I am very anti illegal immigration.
I'm against all immigration.
Me too.
I'm against legal immigration for like 5-10 years.
Well, that can be fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay if someone wants to go through the process. You can argue the process arduous. You can say it's pointless. You can say there's fraud. There's fraud in anything. Okay.
I'm down to let in 20 people.
Yeah.
A year.
Maybe a good basketball team worth of people.
Yeah.
A couple sports players, baseball too. We got to get some good baseball.
Yeah,
players.
We need Japanese people that bad.
Maybe some comedians. I'm down to bring in some comedians.
Okay. We'll switch Kill Tony for a few shows, and it'll just be to make me laugh, and you'll get a
that's our new immigration process, is doing good on Kill Tony.
that's something.
So hear me out. Here's my solution. Take all the people who've come here illegally and all the people who want people to come here illegally and put them on an island like Britain did with Australia. And they can live there, and they can immigrate, and they can do whatever the hell they want and leave us alone.
Yeah, maybe we could transform Haiti that way, or another
or Atlantis.
Colonize.
Did
you guys see the speaking of leftists normalizing violence theme? Did you guys see John Oliver's thing about ICE?
Not if I can help it.
Yeah, well, that's for your benefit, but also we have shirts coming out soon if they're ever printed. Deport John Oliver. We're gonna be dropping that line soon.
Maybe they'll actually print that one, because they wouldn't print my F. Bill Gates shirts.
Yeah, deport Hassan Piker too. We'll put that on there. But he basically he had his audience set up to laugh and cheer over the people that were fighting ICE. He was basically saying, like, this is a good thing. I mean, they're committing violence against federal agents, and you have this fucking comedian, quote unquote, up there encouraging violence. And then you see the attorney general guy, and you see all the people online. This is something, it's crazy that's, for one, is humorous to these people, but two, it's just so normalized. It's like fish in water is people on the left wishing for violence, committing violence.
Again.
Well, and you know what? I'm sitting here. It's just on my X screen from X being open. I'm sitting here looking at Trump being praised worldwide for his Gaza peace deal.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see where he got pulled out of the Antifa roundtable today early because they were at the Q&A to go deal with basically it sounds like the closing of the deal. And I guess the press pool has been told, get ready, pack your bags. We're going to do a Middle East tour, and Gaza may be on the stop. And so my point is all these people that you're talking about, all these crazy people that have all these crazy ideas, what's one of the driving factors that they talk about right now? Free Palestine, free Palestine. Do you think they're going to give Trump credit for that? Or do you think they're too brainwashed to even realize what just happened? Do you know what I mean?
Shift their focus. You won't hear another word about it.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they'll do. It'll just be a non-issue. It'll go from being, and people will say, well, how could that be? And then I'd say, well, whatever happened to President Elon? Or any of the stupid narratives they've come up with.
Well, something did happen to the President Elon, is that Trump and Elon had a fight.
I know that, but I'm saying the narrative. It was, he gave his heart out to the people. We all remember the Roman salute that they claimed he did, and they hammer a narrative until it doesn't work for them anymore, and they just completely abandon it. JD Vance is weird. That was one of my favorites. Tim Walz calling JD Vance weird. Get out of here with that. Trump's demented. Project 2025. Handmaiden's Tale. The couch.
To answer your question about will they give him credit, I think some individual activists may actually acknowledge that. I actually heard that from somebody who's very opposed to Trump say that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the whole, the mass, no, they'll be shifted. So if it goes through and it happens, then I think some people will give him credit. I don't know if it'll be significant, but in general, people have the attention span of a mouse. It's they're just going to bounce to the next outrage thing, which will probably be back towards ICE and the inevitable Insurrection Act that will be invoked hopefully soon, like Joe's been saying.
Well, and I'm looking at it right now. Actually, I under comments, this person was talking about the peace deal, and this other person's like talking about how Trump's using the National Guard horribly here, and citizens are being arrested, and the Constitution doesn't exist anymore. So there you go. They were already, now that the news is out, they've already got their talking point.
Chopper Dave says, anyone with a Handmaid's Tale, PFP, or Palestinian flag in America is a retard. Change my mind. No offense to actual retards.
This Chopper Dave guy seems to know what's up. But that's how they do it. And they just shift so suddenly. So people don't focus anymore. They lost their attention span. TikTok is designed for like 30-second videos, and these people are scrolling, and we're all guilty of it. We all doom scroll on whatever we doom scroll on, be it X, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But these videos are short. You're not supposed to pay attention. And you can ask people 3 minutes later, hey, what'd you just watch? I don't know. Because you don't remember. You don't retain. So that's kind of like why I have that curse that I can't forget things, and I remember things from 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm terrible with names, but I'll remember pointless, stupid things that I don't even understand why I remember them.
Well, NPCs don't have a memory. You know, it's
Yeah.
not a, it's not. They don't reflect and then
That's
adjust.
a good tweet right there.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. Would you like to buy some wares? And then you leave and come back in. Hello, sir. Would you like to buy some?
They leave that out of the programming because it doesn't serve a useful purpose.
Well, you can't
It's a-
program self-awareness. I mean, we're talking
Oh.
that's artificial intelligence at this point. I mean, you can deep or program people to not think.
I mean,
Social media to that. What is narcissism? Self-awareness? I don't know. I like that
No,
chick.
I
that
would
I
argue-
figured
I
out
would
who she
argue no.
was.
not at all.
Like I figured out who she was last night and where she lived and stuff, so we can turn her in. And she was threatening ICE. I go look at the top of her TikTok page, and it's literally the only description in her bio is I like to hear myself talk.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mhm.
here she is saying kill ICE, and Charlie Kirk deserved it.
Well, that gets you attention as well. And the modern generation, it's funny because I grew up, and you're not going to believe me, but I grew up never wanting my picture taken. I didn't want to be on video. And nowadays, that's the capital. If you don't want to go work an actual job and run a register or hand out French fries, you got to become famous. The only way to become famous is to be permanently online and to say controversial things. Because the person that goes on and just has milk toast opinions will never get any traction.
Yeah.
You'll never get the people. I mean, if you want to be successful on Twitter, the way to do it is to go on and make a bunch of people mad.
Yeah.
How do you do that if you're a leftist? You go on there and you say the most out of pocket, violent crap you can. And then all of a sudden, and if you're a conservative, you go to the Krasensteins and you make fun of how they're not tall enough to ride the roller coaster. They have to sit in the little caterpillar cart.
Mm.
They really don't like that. They get mad. Or you make fun of JoJo and her disgusting face.
Yeah. And then it only props up their engagement though. And they do that, they're just doing that for that.
But
That's what they're doing it for.
But that's a negative learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. Nobody's on there trying to change anyone's mind.
Mm.
And that's the problem. That's everybody says nobody talks to anybody anymore, but because what's the point? They're not there to listen to you and have their opinions shift. They are there to wait for you to finish talking so that they can say their talking point or they can say their joke. They're not taking in what you say.
Yeah, I mean they're not designed to. Those like Lakota Man and what's that?
Blocked by him.
Dad, the Brooklyn Dad guy.
Dad.
Blocked by him.
They're not. Their role is not to convince anybody. It's just to play to their base and then outrage the other side. And that's a very effective business model on X if you're trying to monetize and become influential. But in general, to ask you about the change your mind thing, I don't think we're not really going to change anybody's mind at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
we have.
We have. That. You know what I mean? It's like Charlie Kirk getting shot. Look how many people, after what they saw their party doing, came to our side. And then Trump getting shot, same thing. It takes major events for shifts like that to happen. And unfortunately for the Democrats, they can't seem to help themselves with egging on,
again,
rhetoric to, it's something to happen. It's almost like the left wants everybody to be on the right at this point,
Yeah, well, they're definitely pushing everybody that way, but
they've shifted the Overton window for sure.
Yeah, and that's happened not through argument necessarily. It's happened just by them opening the border, trying to shoot Trump, trying to force a vaccine.
Them just being themselves.
It doesn't happen through debate. It just happens through them indicting themselves enough to where if you have a sane bone in your body, you come out and realize these people are crazy. It's not because somebody made an argument, it just has to happen through them revealing themselves at this point.
How about telling everybody they're racist?
Mm.
How many people do you think were like, I'm not racist? And then you got someone screaming in your face that you, because of the color of your skin, that you're inherently racist. You say, wait a minute, I was brought up to not judge people by the color of their skin. And there's no difference between me and another person, just the tone of our skin. But now So how many people got radicalized by that? How many do you think?
Well,
Radicalized or just switch sides or?
Well, by today's standards, switching sides to the right means you're radicalized, not the other way around.
That's
We're the
true.
ones firebombing people and hitting people with bricks and bike locks and
You moved. How about do you remember when Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, got firebombed?
Yeah.
In the governor's mansion.
It was a leftist, and they blamed
by
us.
a leftist because Josh Shapiro's Jewish, and this guy was a free Palestine guy. They're attacking themselves.
Well, look what they did the other day with that lady's house burning up. The judge that messed with the Trump administration or whatever.
Yeah, but
all these people, including that broad on MSNBC, is like, oh, because the Trump administration called her out for being a shitty judge. Obviously, this is the right attacking her. And then the cops and the investigators come out like, no, it was just, it just happened. It was no arson, and not even an apology to my knowledge.
Well, what about that guy in Mississippi who was hanging from a tree? Did that go anywhere?
Oh, God, that outrage lasted about 2 weeks. Yeah.
They did the autopsy and said he did this to himself. And then they're like, well, we're going to pay for a private autopsy. Knock yourself out. You find the same thing.
I'm sure they could get that TV autopsy guy to come, Bowden or whatever. He'll come and say that it was he was lynched, just like he tried to say that what's his name, George Floyd, didn't overdose on fentanyl. That guy's a piece of shit.
But there's so many of those. I don't want to call them grifters because a grifter just does it for the money. I think a lot of them do it for social standing. Like Ibram X. Kendi, he didn't need money. He was already a professor and everything. He did it because, to his way of thinking, he was getting one back. I'm not saying that race relations were perfect in 2009, but it sure wasn't a big issue. Everybody just got along with everybody. And then all of a sudden they started telling 50% of the people that they're racist. And it's like, no. And then so the other side's, of course, gonna fight. They're gonna run with it because they get all the benefits. It's insanity. I don't think there's a way that it can be backed down the way it was raised up. It's not going to go down quietly. It's not going to go down easy. There are a lot of people who've made this their entire identity.
And the sooner we address it, honestly, and the quicker we address it, the better. I mean, that's why
Band-Aid.
I'll be frank. If we can actually achieve, maintaining the border, but also dismantling Antifa in every way legally, at all levels of it, and also, RICO a lot of these NGOs and attack the machinery that, and then get voter ID. 2028 will be a breeze to me.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like, what do we need? What do we need to?
But you need to act. You can't just sit back and wait for the next election. I mean, this is the thing.
We need to handle. A lot of people don't understand that 2020, the 2024 election. Yeah, we swamped the presidential election, but they still cheated at the state level. It happened. It was in various places around the country. They still cheated. Yeah. If we don't fix that, we're never going to retain Congress. We're never going to. There's a lot of things we're not going to do. And these people in what used to be red states like California, they're trapped under an authoritarian regime, and that might sound dramatic, but look at what they do there. Look what they do in Portland to conservatives versus the left. You know what I'm saying? We got to liberate the country and bring it back to being the republic, the constitutional republic that it was supposed to be. Yeah. I'm sick and tired of, and people repeat it. It's a democracy. It's a democracy because technically that's how we're being run now, like a banana republic democracy. And that's what they wanted for the longest time, the Democrats. And we're pretty much there. And that's got to be fixed immediately, or the next two elections are everything that we've seen happen so far for nothing.
But so what do you do to fix that? The elections themselves, because, it does go against the Constitution to federalize elections, which the Democrats tried to do during Biden's administration, is they actually tried to federalize the elections. They were like, oh, this is our last little chance to try and rig all the elections if Congress can control it. So the founders and the Constitution was very firm and clear that the federal government, or that the states, run their own elections, and the federal government isn't really allowed to come in and tell them how to run their elections. So how do you fix that? I mean, I guess you maybe could pass a law at the federal level instituting voter ID, or what? How do you fix that?
So maybe reform on mail-in ballots, because if you can't federalize it, you can't make it illegal federally. So you can't outlaw mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
But make the deadline 2 weeks before election day. If you're voting by mail, there needs to be a 2-week period where they can all be accounted for. The numbers match, the signatures match. Both parties agree on it. Stuff like that. The crap they pulled in 2020, trying to having all the state legislatures change all the rules at the last second.
Yeah.
When nothing, okay. It's very obvious what they're doing. So if you want to stay within the lines, you want to color within the lines, you have to reform mail-in voting. If you don't care about coloring between the lines, you outlaw mail-in voting, and we don't have this problem.
There's other simple fixes too, like watermarks that can't be. We do it with money.
Here you go.
Them things in the bills that shine. I don't know what you call it, but you know what I'm talking about. Stuff like that with each ballot. Would it, and then the left are like, well, that will make it more expensive. Okay, and what is the price of fucking of a democracy, as you call it? You're willing to fund illegals, healthcare and welfare, but you won't make sure our elections aren't rigged. Like, that tells me everything I need to know about that party. You know what I'm saying?
How about fingerprint identification?
No, that's surveillance state stuff, Steve. Can't go down that road.
If you don't think the government has your fingerprint and DNA, you're delusional.
I got
well, they definitely have mine.
Elementary school, it was just normal.
But what I'm saying is, okay, they have it, so why don't we take advantage of that? How about instead of a real ID, you can use your thumbprint? I don't.
How about like a barcode that's tattooed on your forehead, and then they just like scan it, and then they just
no.
Uh-oh. Am I kicked off the stream?
You've been gonged.
No.
I've been gonged.
Like, I get you're giving me the business.
I can think of another place that dudes could get the barcode, but some would be short and some would be longer numbers.
Yeah. We're in kindergarten now.
Yes, I guess I'm on a mission for prescriptions. I want solutions, I guess, and you guys are smart guys, so I'm just kind of curious about how to go about it. We can't exactly just install a totalitarian dictatorship in order to crush the left and then maybe return it back to the post-republic or the actual constitutional republic that it's supposed to be.
Well, that's the thing, is to return it. He'll be following the Constitution the whole way, and it's going to look like an authoritarian regime to some people.
Well, yeah, like I said earlier, enforcing the law is now fascist.
Yeah.
So if this is where the Overton window's at, then we need to shift it and say, no, this is literally just enforcing the law. All of this is just enforcing the law. And I think enough people will, if Trump needs to invoke the Insurrection Act, or whatever else moves need to be made, I do think, regardless of what polls may say, I think he still has the support of enough of the American public, a majority probably.
He's even pointing out regularly now that there's like black women in Chicago with MAGA hats. Like, I mean, come on, he ain't lying. That's not him talking out his ass. I've seen it myself. There's a whole turn Chicago red is mostly black folks in Chicago.
Yeah, it is MAGA.
You know what I'm
country.
saying? Like, it's like I did a search for this last night. I think I used Grok, and then I backed it up with another AI. But the shift in Hispanic and black votes alone has been insane over the past few years. And that's who they relied on the left. A lot of who they relied on were minorities. And that's what led me to make that post about the Great Replacement. They deny it out of one side that it's happening, but then they admit it out the other side. What's
Yeah,
really
it's a good thing.
happening is they're trying to replace all Americans, not just one race. But, you know, you'll get the race baiters on the left that'll be like, yeah, we want to replace you with other people, you know. But at the same time, they say that they don't do it. But they're trying to replace black people. Look where they're doing most of their ICE raids. It's not because they hate black people. It's because that's where they sent all the illegals, was to black neighborhoods, you know, to replace them.
And you know what's funny about that, real quick, before you throw that up, Adrian, is the left put all the illegals in the black neighborhoods because they're so racist they thought we wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's why they did it. They're like, oh, they won't even notice they're in there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean the people that have been yelling at Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, during his town halls are all black people saying like, "You're a fraud. You're selling us out. We want we want Trump to bring in ICE here because you're basically screwing us over." I mean, there was a park, and I want to say it was in a black neighborhood where they had a bunch of tents set up for the migrants in the wintertime so that people in that neighborhood couldn't use their park anymore. And again, it you know, the Democrats love to preach about diversity and we love Black Lives Matter, but on so many issues, it's like, no, actually you don't. I mean, the crime issue, for one, there are plenty of people in those neighborhoods who are not trying to be involved in organized crime. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I think Kash Patel said that there's 100,000 gang members in Chicago.
110,000 out of what?
That's a small city.
2.5 million or something.
That's crazy.
It's diversity of everything but thought, Adrian. You can all diversity matters except for if you have a different opinion. That's not allowed. But you have to look different while doing it.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, you'll be the black face of white supremacy. So
yeah, like Enrique Tarrio.
No, I was going to say Larry Elder, but yeah, either one of them. You know, you brought up this quote here: "He who saves his country does not violate any law."
But pretty based. I mean, that was a white pill. When I saw him say that, I was like, okay, here we're in for a ride. Let's go.
But I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. I think Joe said this on a previous show. Basically, how much worse can they get where you have fucking attorney general candidates saying they want to kill children? I mean, this is why I am more accelerationist, I feel like, than you, Tyler's, because I think it is existential, and the timeline that we're dealing with, time has sped up. All this stuff has sped up since Trump got in the first time, and it's just accelerated since then. It's accelerated within the last month.
We had time to rest under Biden to some degree. We were all too broke to go outside, and he was always sleeping.
Well, as it turns out, his administration wasn't. The pen was running. He was just playing.
Yeah, true.
Out.
To your point about acceleration, I mean, it's not like all of a sudden we're going to see some crazy guy show up at a fucking Catholic church with bombs to blow up the SCOTUS. You know what I mean? I would be like, holy crap, we're accelerating a little bit too much. But for now, it seems pretty calm.
You have been gonged.
Well, as long as nobody shows up to kill a Supreme Court justice and then gets off with a lighter sentence than someone who called out the 2020 election. That's a true story that happened this week.
Yeah. Right? So that was a federal court that the grand jury in a federal court dismissed charges against those people that were.
No. I'm talking.
Oh, you're talking about something else. Sorry.
Remember when they talking about something else?
They leaked the Roe versus Wade decision back during the Biden administration. Someone showed up at Brett Kavanaugh's house.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tranny did. Transgender.
Just got sentenced.
Joe.
Just got sentenced.
That's the one thing you can't say.
I tried to get a little louder.
I wanted to just real quick. There's a quote I like. It's Ernest Hemingway, and he says, essentially things happen gradually and then suddenly. And so I think we're in the suddenly part. But the liberals overplayed their hand. So, like,
you have to get people to see that.
Well, you have to understand the advantage we have right now with X, and I mean also with Trump in office. All these companies are capitulating to what the administration wants. They'll take X from you. Like I said, Newsom's in. They'll take X. I mean, they just passed trying to pass some crazy hate speech law in California. Did you see that? Right after Charlie Kirk, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're trying to ban VPNs here in Michigan.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Stretch and Gretchen.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have I'm saying that the Democrats, whatever happened during Biden, is going to be 10 to 100-fold in 2028. They're going to accelerate. We don't. That's why I feel like maybe I'm wrong. It feels like the sky's falling. But I mean, again, there was a guy that tried to kill the entire Supreme Court 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just playing devil's advocate a little
I
bit.
hear you.
So I agree with you. I tend to agree with you a little bit more about the existential nature of the danger, but I'm also an ideological incrementalist. Like, for example, when I think about something like abortion, like I'm very pro-life. I'm very anti-abortion, like to an extreme, actually. And so, but I know, because I'm a practical person as well, that it's going to happen incrementally. And so throwing a fit and not voting for Donald Trump because he's not pro-life enough or anti-abortion enough is crazy. So I guess what I'm trying to do is apply that that ideology or moral strategy of incrementalism. It's the same thing with slavery. There were incrementalists in slavery, but then there were the abolitionists, and the abolitionists ended up winning, and Lincoln was a little bit more of an incrementalist than an abolitionist, but the abolitionists ended up winning in that situation. And I'm trying to stay consistent in my strategy and in my ideology, I guess I should say. And so I think incrementalism is really the only way for, and there's abolitionists in the pro-life movement who are unwilling to capitulate in any way whatsoever or take any sort of short-term win because it's never enough. You know what I mean?
Look what they're doing with the government shutdown. They really think that everybody's going home at night and they're watching MSNBC or CNN. They really think they have control of the narrative. They haven't gotten the memo.
Oh, and it's hilarious too, Steve.
Oh yeah,
Every
shutdown, and everybody looks at them like, "What are you talking about?"
It's all of them, and I'm like, who do they think they're kidding at this point?
Well, that's why the sombrero memes were so hilarious and genius to just make them look foolish.
They put a sombrero on Hakeem when he was yelling at that guy today. Now he's got a sombrero.
Right, but also they tried to say it was racist, and then Trump responds with him with a sombrero playing mariachi music behind Hakeem Jeffries. And even the Daily Show, there was a guy that was like basically saying, "Well, this is funny," and the crowd's laughing because it's like, well, because this is just peak Trump's genius in terms of shifting the narrative. But yeah, I mean, they can't sell any of this stuff, like they're holding it up for illegal immigrants unless you're a true believer. And I would say a large percentage of Democrats are, a vast majority of them. That's how they're still in that party. Whereas there's way more actual diversity of thought within the right-leaning side, because you have to be all in. You have to become a Borg to go along with this stuff, because you have such insane selective memory. You're the craziest NPC I can imagine, and so you have to be a true believer all the way. And so when you're confronted with your side's own violence, then you just ignore it even more and focus on Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's going to be our new messiah, our new
best news about that.
Well, but what's so funny about that is they say Jimmy Kimmel's the martyr when why did they bring up Melissa Hortman? Oh, well, anyway.
What about the other guy?
Their level of martyr is a guy getting suspended for a week from his TV show. This is the level of absurdity that we're dealing with this side.
So what other guy, Steve? What other guy?
So there was 2 politicians that he shot that day.
Oh yeah.
They only ever talk about her.
Oh right, yeah,
because
that's
it was
a
woman. But Jimmy Kimmel, if you are unaware, he had that big bump when he came back. His viewership's now down 72%.
Yeah, they went away. I said this was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Who's going to watch him? They gave him his little boost, and they brag
And
about it.
everybody's like,
Now he's done.
oh wow, it's just politics and nonsense.
Yeah.
And they're going to come on here and they're going to glad hand each other. And it's the same crap we didn't want to watch before. People have moved on from that kind of television. This is why Colbert was canceled. This is why Kimmel was suspended. And this is why Fallon's probably sweating. He's probably not. He probably doesn't care. He's kind of an idiot. So I think
Fallon's the least worst.
He's the one that tussled Trump's hair on TV and everybody got mad because he humanized him. I'm not joking.
I know.
When he was running, they're like, you humanized him. Yeah, he's a human. What are you talking about?
You know, bring back Craig Ferguson. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
Bring back people who have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
I
Like
think Craig Ferguson hates Trump too, doesn't he?
Oh, he
No.
might.
I don't
don't know. He just maybe he wasn't around during that, so I don't remember him for the Trump derangement. He probably would have been the lapdog, just like Colbert.
Well, that's like I said on the last show. It's just the most bizarre thing. Yeah, he was telling Donald Trump no on stuff. But yeah, anyway, like it's just the most bizarre thing. Like if you're gonna let out an album, and it's been like this since Trump's first term. Like if you're gonna let out a new album, you got to say something bad about Trump or Trump supporters. You're gonna let out a new movie, you got to make some statement on Trump or Trump supporters. If you got a TV show, it's got to have some kind of anti-Trump slant, or else they don't think you're gonna make it. Meanwhile, every time they do this, their shit fails, and it just makes no sense to me. I would understand if it would help them, but it has yet to do so. So
how
why
did it work out for Rachel Zegler?
Right.
Because she had
It's Hollywood, baby.
That country music singer nobody's ever heard of. He just gave himself the Dixie Chicks treatment.
Zach
It'll
Bryan.
be a joke.
I don't even know who that is. I don't listen to country, so everybody was melting, and I'm like,
I like Zach
Wait,
Bryan.
did Zach Bryan say something?
Yeah,
he
wrote
made
an
a song.
anti-ICE song.
Yeah. His newest song is anti. I know I was a little disappointed, but you know what? I am a mature human being, and I'm able to separate the art from the man. That's me coping. That was coping.
I have to. I listen to 90s alternative and well, I guess my synthwave, they don't really say much, political stuff, but like 90s alternative alone, I can think of like 5 different people that are anti-Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for you, Dave. Tyler,
Red Clay Strays, you know that band? They were just on Joe Rogan. They're pretty good, new like alternative country band.
Cool.
But they were saying, yeah, we'd like to play the UFC fight at the White House lawn. Like we want to. I mean, it's not
awesome.
Like we want to go to the White House. It doesn't matter who's like. We want to meet the president. We meet whoever. But
politics is essentially a marketing strategy for a lot of people, especially in the music world and Hollywood and stuff like that. It's a marketing strategy. And it works for a lot of people. I got nothing. I got nothing against Zach Bryan for making a song. Like, who cares? I don't think it's a big deal. But you know who sucks is Oliver. What's that? Oliver Anthony.
Oh,
I did not like his music at all. I'm a little bit of a connoisseur. So.
I didn't understand that either. I don't listen to country, and whatever it was about that dude and the combination of the guitar and his voice made me just want to punch things.
Yeah.
It made me physically angry. My son, however, loved it. And I'm like, stop playing that around me, please.
So you're a country guy there, Tyler?
Me? Oh, not really. I mean, I like everything really, but I love old country though. Like I love Merle Haggard. I love Johnny Cash. Like who doesn't? I love Hank Williams stuff. Like I love old country. I will sit there and listen to old country all day. Newer country's definitely a little more hit and miss. I'm getting off into the weeds here, but I actually really like the Shaboozey album.
Yeah, me too.
I loved that album. I listened to the whole thing. I thought it was amazing. It was super good. Like the production, the songwriting, everything. It had everything. That album had everything in that it had kind of a banger bar song that everybody could get down to. And then the rest of it was actually like well written and stuff like that. So I think there's, I like music. I'm not a hater. How many people have you heard be like, oh, I like all music except for country?
Well, you like Achy Breaky Heart though, right?
I love that song. It's one of my favorites. It's I listen to it.
That
Modern
deserves a
Country.
slide.
Ah, shit. I got another
90s, as
L.
much good music came out of the 90s, there was a lot of cringe. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Listen, modern country is just pop music with gingivitis.
Half the country singers from today don't even have Southern accents once they leave the stage either, which is hilarious.
What's the guy's name? Dierks Bentley from Vermont. Get out of here.
Dierks Bentley. Haven't heard him.
Oh, yeah, you have. You never heard Drunk
maybe.
on a Plane?
No.
Oh, that song makes me angry.
I think it sounds familiar, the name, but not the song.
Chopper Dave coming in clutch here.
Garth
Oh,
Brooks
and
that's one we didn't dig into. Garth Brooks is a serial killer. Was it Garth Brooks?
Yes, it is.
That's one we got to dig into.
Sorry, Garth was just shooting. Garth's tour manager took out another one there.
I 100% think that's legit.
But
I don't believe in coincidences, okay?
Nobody wants to talk about Chris Gaines.
Ooh, see, that's creepy. If you got a fake name, if you got a whole ass fake name and a whole
Fake
ass
person.
persona.
Isn't that his real name?
No, his real name is Garth Brooks.
Oh, I thought that was a cover name. Like
one of them is fake. One thing's for sure. One of them is fake.
Was it Goth Brooks? Was Chris Gaines? He was like an email.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Listen, I'm gonna make myself look foolish, but
Now I gotta Google.
the Chris Gaines album was not the worst thing I've ever heard. It wasn't good.
It was Garth Brooks. That's what I thought. He came with
well-
the black hair, tried to look all emo.
Well, he
Yeah.
hosted SNL one time, I remember, and Garth Brooks was the host, and the musical guest was Chris Gaines. And
It
so
was-
That's weird.
and we've got a
He was
great musical guest.
serious.
Chris Gaines is here.
Oh, no.
It's just like, what the?
He was
I do have
trying-
a fact check. Sorry, guys. Garth Brooks' real name is Troyal Garth Brooks. His first name is Troyal with a T.
Of course,
That's
he's
not
a
a
serial killer. You would kill people too if your parents did that to you. Let's be real.
That is not a real word.
Troyal?
That's an incantation.
It's the Royal Troy.
It's witchcraft. These damn demons.
Why would you do that to your kid?
I don't know.
Oh my God, he's not lying either. That's hilarious.
I would not lie. to
Troyal,
you.
like royal, but with a T.
Yep.
Oh
That's right.
man, that makes him even more punchable.
That
See,
may
that's the
be
thing. Here on the Post Republic, we give you infotainment.
Yeah.
Okay, we will give you
information you can't
factoids.
use anywhere.
information you cannot utilize anywhere.
Troyal just driving around killing people after his show.
Well, if you were married to Trisha Yearwood, you probably would too.
See, and I don't know much about her or even what
I
she
don't
looks
even know what she looks like. I just
I
know
don't
that.
even- I'm
she's
gonna look.
married.
Let's see.
Okay, we're getting off into the weeds.
Yes,
Let's talk
yes,
more about how the left is violent.
Sorry,
That is
No.
the show.
is what I see when I see her. All right. Anyway, sorry.
But like you said, Adrian, it's like you can't even keep up. You can't even keep count with how violent they are. And like we were saying earlier, it's like it's a part of who they are. You know, watching Hassan push that button to shock his dog today, it really was like a little bit of a visceral, like, what in the is wrong with you, man? That just so that way he could have his little prop, his little stage prop or whatever on his freaking live stream, and he does like 17 hours a day of live streaming. That poor dog, like this is like it's pretty sick. That
Well-
and it makes you think like, oh, serial killers, like Garth Brooks was probably torturing puppies when he was a kid, you know?
You know, if there's one thing that could convince more people on the left, it would be getting Antifa to commit animal cruelty, because they don't care about murder.
I know.
But if they find out Antifa is beating their dogs and shocking them, they might actually turn. So
We'll see some real cancel culture.
It's like Muslims aren't supposed to even keep dogs. He's paranoid.
So
He's probably only keeping it because he says stupid shit and he's worried that some right winger is going to come busting through his front door and he wants to be notified by a dog.
not
So
why he has it.
technically, it's either that or that's his girlfriend. But either way, like at the end of the day, he's only keeping it probably for semi, what do you want to call it? Security purposes. So he probably treats it even worse off camera. Let's be real. He's not even supposed to have one.
So Chief down there, he got it. It's a prop.
Yeah.
Humanize it.
Yeah.
Because he's a millionaire socialist. And people start noticing that. So he has a dog to humanize him.
His handlers told him, hey, we need to humanize you a little bit more. Americans love dogs. Let's get you a little dog to put it on the prop. And it's like, that's exactly what happened. His handlers told him he had to have a dog. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll get a stupid dog. I'll get a nasty dog. And then he's just going to come in here and try to deny it. It's like, dude, I mean, I guess that's probably the best strategy. I mean, what are you going to do? Go on and be like, yeah, I torture my dog. Sorry, guys. So, I mean, I thought that Jay Jones probably should have denied the allegations of the test.
That guy just doubled, triple down.
So you know what I noticed is all the people that were up in arms about Christy Nome and what she did to her dog. Pretty quiet right now about Hassan and his dog. I was kind of loud about both of them. Probably shouldn't put that story in your book, and you probably shouldn't shock your dog on stream.
Well, but that's I'm on Nome's side on this. I'm
No, I get why she did it.
Yeah.
When you're writing a book and running for political office,
probably not
maybe
the best
that's
idea.
a story you leave on the cut. You leave that for the director's cut.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. That's true. It was a political mistake. Let's put it that way.
That was, I think she was trying to show that she was tough.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's just not the right spot for it. But when you read the story and you understand the context of the story, she didn't just shoot some random dog.
Yeah.
We all know the story.
Yeah.
But there's a study out. I don't know if you guys have heard this, that people who lean conservative tend to not do as well in school. And people who are leaning liberal do because they're good at memorization, which is what school is about. They give you information, you scan it, you hold it in your head, and you spit it out on a test. That's why they tend to go along with lockdowns more and instructions and mandates. They're all for them because that's what they do.
Well, yeah, education is just one big system to get you to worship authority. I mean, that's one of its main reasons or main purposes.
They say, what the hell is it? They say that the right's uneducated. Okay, well, we'll go away and we'll let you run the power plants and chop down the trees, and it's one of those things.
Well, there are plenty of engineers, very well educated, who are not left leaning. So
yeah. No. It's not to say that you can't have conservative leanings and do okay in school. It's just on the overall, that's how it comes through.
Well, a lot of those positions like PhDs are just people that end up running the system. A lot of those degrees aren't as technical or skilled as.
They're not as hard. They're time consuming. And there's a lot of so when I went to college briefly, I was working a real job, and this guy's like, well, I need you to cite all these sources and do all this different crap. And I'm like, I'm writing a 2-page essay and you want a 3-page bibliography. I'm being a little bit silly, but you know what I mean. And for me, that I don't have time for this. I got to go to work. I got to have some kind of a life. I have kids. But the people who can do that, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think. Go ahead.
Well, just getting back to the education discussion, they don't teach you how to think. They just teach you what to think, So people are taught to cite all these things, but not to really dive in and understand the subject, just to know how to listen to people who are more proficient than themselves. And so we're left with a lot of people that they literally don't know how to think. So it's the NPC factory before the media takes hold is all that. And that's the purpose of the Prussian education system. So,
and then the bell curve meme comes to my mind. So, you have the bell curve meme where there's the retard meme on the one side, and then you have like the hooded Jedi type guy on the other side, you know, and they think the same thing. They came to the same conclusion because it's all the educated people in the middle who think they're geniuses, but all they've just been programmed their whole life because they went through the Prussian education system.
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, remind me.
So that's where people who are inept or less qualified to do a job think they do way better. And people who are qualified tend to be more critical of their abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So they think they perform worse than the people who don't know what they're doing. Kind of like the Peter principle, but different.
Yeah. Well,
I just wanted to sound smart.
Yeah. No, ding, gong this man. Yes, Adrian's got a soundboard now.
We're having fun tonight. We're just shooting one off. We weren't shooting at you. Don't worry.
Well, for just a quick, let me finish my thought though about the bell curve meme. So, for example, it's like dumb people, quote unquote, quote dumb people, or low IQ people, or uneducated people, typically believe that God exists. And then all the brilliant, smartest people, like the real philosophers, people like, I don't know, St. Thomas Aquinas, believe that God does exist because atheism is retarded. And so then you have all the people in the middle that have been convinced by the secular communist psychos in the university system that God doesn't exist. And so it's a very peculiar thing where the smartest people believe something that the dumbest people believe. It's very, very unique phenomenon.
Coincidentally, it's the same with the vaccine. Like, you've seen that meme where I ain't taking it, okay, in the middle. And then the PhDs, I ain't taking it.
That's right.
All you have to do, as far as the vaccine went, when I saw that Congress had given themselves an out on the mandate, I was like, yeah, I'm not taking that.
You gonna take it?
Well, yeah. Another example too, you know, the smartest people in the room are supposedly always liberal, but these are also the people that tell us that men can have babies too.
Yeah.
But that's
at all levels. I mean, voters, college professors, actors, musicians all say this. And I'm like over here like
social pressure. Because if you step out of line, this is why Ketanji Brown Jackson sitting in front of Congress, and they said, what is a woman? And she says, I'm not qualified to answer that question.
Well, she's not a biologist. Duh.
I don't care if I'm interviewing you for a job at McDonald's and you tell me you can't tell me what a woman is, I'm not going to hire you. But if she would have answered that question in any other fashion, the left would have torn her to shreds. They put her in a bad spot because there was no right answer she could have given for that question. She could have answered it honestly and said, I'm a woman.
Well, that's why what is a woman is the ultimate.
That's questionable too, though.
The what is a woman question is like the easiest way to just completely freeze up a leftist who's confronted with the fact that, yeah, explain this to me.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
They did get their upload for that. They now, like when you see those on the street interviews, they say anybody that identifies as a woman. That's what a woman is.
But that makes no sense.
But then you just say, well, what are they identifying as?
I identify as a millionaire.
Yeah. Or you can't use woman in the definition of, you can't use the word in the definition.
Woman.
You ever notice how a lot of these people that do that, these dudes that identify as women, like their biggest obsession is getting into women's bathrooms. Mm-hmm. And I used to clean bathrooms for a living back in the day, and I know which one's the dirtiest, and 9 times out of 10, and I don't understand it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, because it ain't the men's room. I'm gonna be telling you that right now.
Really?
It's not the men's room. 9 times out of 10, the women's bath, like men would have nightmares on some of these women's bathrooms.
Well, this is sounding very misogynist.
It's also true.
I bet there's women in comments that'll tell you too.
Oh yeah.
They want to pull out their she-ness. That's what they want to do.
Yeah. That's what
show it off.
I saw somebody post this online. Somebody that identifies as trans, and it was basically a woman without a penis is like an angel without wings. This is the most like ridiculous. Yeah,
Chopper Dave knows that I'm right. He said he's seen it. What does that even mean, though?
I know. Well, if you're a woman and you don't have a penis, that means that you're not getting into heaven. No, it just means it's literally. I mean, that's the perfect endpoint of that whole belief system. Like, if you don't have a penis as a woman, then you're basically like an angel without wings. You're not even a woman if you don't have a penis. That's just you're not a woman without a penis. Okay.
Or you're still an angel, but you just don't have the wings.
You can't fly.
This
You
is a
can't
Red
fly
Bull
without a
commercial,
penis.
a Red Bull commercial, isn't it? You're just not telling us.
So I guess the thing that always bothered
Oh.
me is
Who got gonged?
I gonged myself for my joke. Maybe I'm taking it off course here.
Go ahead, Steve.
what is so essential about our buy-in on everything.
About our what?
Believing
about
it?
us buying into this. Why does it matter what we think? If you don't respect my opinion, why do you care what it is?
Because it's about power.
Of course it is. That's the point. That's
Yeah.
what I was pointing out.
Yeah.
If you truly didn't care what we thought, you wouldn't be hammering people so hard over the head about it. Like, and we live in a society where people make jokes. People like to have fun. We make light of things. Okay. And when you identify yourself as someone who can't take a joke, you're exposing your own weakness, which they've done in spades.
Oh, they'll shoot you over it. They'll tell you that too.
Sure.
Well, they shot Charlie over that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's a violent mindset, I guess. When you're angry, when you're brainwashed into thinking that you're angry that you have the wrong parts, even though it happens nowhere else in nature without a hormonal change from external factors. Like when the frogs were turned gay, it was because of atrazine in the water. But on a normal scale, it happens nowhere else in nature. Nowhere. So why does it only happen to humans? And tell me how it's not psychological. Why did it have to be taken out of the DSM-5?
It's a war on language. It's a
Of course
war on reality itself to get you to go along with ideas that you know aren't true, but you want to be a good person, so you go along because that's what people tell you to do. And it just allows you to capitulate to the point where, I've said this a million times, a building on fire is not violent. It's still very, the building isn't fully on fire, so it's mostly not on fire. It just it creates this rule system that allows in all of this absurd ways of thinking that then leads you to where we're at, where it's perfectly normal and acceptable to wish death on people.
Does anyone remember when Cher's daughter came out as trans? Chaz Bono?
I don't even know who that is.
That is
I do.
Cher.
Yeah.
Oh, Cher.
The singer.
Got you.
This Cher and Sonny Bono's child, Chastity, I want to say, became Chaz. And it was literally a punchline on Saturday Night Live, all the late night talk shows. She was the ass end of every joke for 5 years. And this is before it was what you were supposed to do. Just constantly just jokes until the narrative shifted and you can't even so much as say the words Ellen Page.
You just did it though. Now this video is going to get banned.
Well, that's one thing why I do like X is that I don't think we're going to get banned for that one. At least we might get banned for the T word, but we'll see.
Okay.
That whole Ellen Page thing though, I'm just going to be real with y'all. Like, she doesn't look any different than she did when she was.
She does. She looks sad.
I don't know, man. I mean, like physically. She was
her
not an
face.
attractive female. She looked like kind of.
Is testosterone the anti-Botox though? Because her face aged like 20 years.
It's hard being a man.
It's hard being. Yeah, you get those forehead wrinkles real quick.
Her Her cheeks are all droopy and stuff.
You guys don't know how hard we have it.
I love the idea. We're going to smash the patriarchy so hard we're going to become it. Where do we follow this?
I mean, they're fighting to get men into women's sports so that they can never hold sports records or win. Because overall, that's what tends to happen. Does anyone remember Fallon Fox?
Mm-mm.
That was the UFC fighter, right?
Yeah, well, not UFC, MMA.
Oh, MMA. Okay.
And he like broke the girl's orbital bone and just completely. And the woman's like, it was like I was being held. She fought professionally for years. She says, I've never felt a grip like that because the bone structure is different. The muscles develop differently. Even if you go on hormones, your body develops differently. And it's. I'm not trying to be Riley Gaines here, but if nothing's real, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of, they want to bring us into a post-reality world.
Well, they've clearly done that.
Yeah.
We're far into it.
The way I see liberals is that they have a gun to the head of reality, and they're saying, "You're not what I want you to be. Change."
It takes a while to load. I'd like to do it faster.
Here, let's try it again. Change. There we go. We got it done. We got that.
Could have done it
We're timing down with this soundboard.
Slams your hat down. Ooh, you varmint. But
yeah, it is a war on reality, and it really kind of just reminds me of there's a lecture. Maybe I brought it up before. My philosophy professor, his name's Bill Hansberger. Hopefully he's still around. Super genius guy, really changed my life, really challenged my whole epistemology and challenged my morals, and it hurt. It hurt so much when he challenged what I believed was real and true. But he has a lecture called Echoes of the Snake, and that's essentially what we're seeing right now. That's what liberalism is. Liberalism is echoes of the snake. It's Satan or the devil coming in and telling people, if you can control reality, it's just him that's stopping you from doing it. So you need to kill God, and then you can control reality. Reality can be as you want it to be, and he's trying to stop you. And those Christians, they're standing in the way too. So strap up.
Everybody knows the what is it, Nietzsche quote? God is dead. There was actually a Marilyn Manson shirt I really liked because the front of it said God is dead, and the back said, and underneath it said Nietzsche, and on the back it said Nietzsche is dead, and underneath that it said God. I thought that was kind of funny. It was an inversion on the whole
war on.
What's that?
Nine Inch Nails had that whole song, God is dead, no one cares.
It's called Heresy.
Yeah, Heresy.
I was a big Nine Inch Nails fan in high school.
Not a fan.
I hear you.
Still am.
But
essentially Nietzsche's argument though is God is dead. We have killed him. There is no good and evil, because Nietzsche knew that if you remove the foundations, the ontological foundations that morals rest upon, when you remove that, then there is no such thing as right and wrong. Nietzsche knew that, and he also predicted that the 20th century would be the bloodiest.
Well, you told me this years ago, saying that if you don't believe in God, then you can't have a system of morality, or you can't be a moral person. And initially I was kind of like, but is that true? But the more I thought about it, and I've come to realize this for a while, but your point is correct in that if you don't believe in a God, an intelligent creator of the world we're in, that's the foundation of reality. If you don't believe in that fundamental truth, then anything can become true. Anything can become God, including yourself, or nobody's God, or it leads to nihilism, postmodernism, atheism, and just
Yeah.
so much of the issues where people are saying, oh, well, violence is okay because we're fighting other forms of violence in the form of speech. We're equating physical violence with words. We're doing all these different things that is just inverting reality to the point that if you don't have that foundational worldview and reality, then you're adrift at sea.
Yes.
Very easy to be compromised, propagandized, and that's where a lot of these left-wing ideas take hold, is because that absence of God is being filled by insane postmodern thought, and it's it's become laughable, but that's what it is.
I do think so. I just have a quibble with the phrasing. I do think that somebody can be a quote unquote moral person and not necessarily believe in a creator God. But you can't ground it. You can't ground it ontologically. So there's no actual objective morality. It doesn't actually exist. It's just, it's all subjective morality, which is really just opinions. I mean, there's no such thing as subjective morality. So in order for there to be an objective morality, then it needs to be founded in some sort of transcendent source. And philosophers have been melting down about this for thousands of years, and really I'd say the conclusion of most philosophers, except for maybe Sam Harris, is that if God does not exist, then there is no such thing as objective morality, and that is to say morality itself. And it all comes down to like societal things. And that's what a lot of times libs will say, that type of stuff. They'll be like, oh, well, every culture kind of has its own like set of morality. And it's like, okay, well, what about slavery? Like everybody agreed that slavery was a good thing for, I don't know, pretty much from the history of humanity up until like 10 minutes ago. So systems of morality fall apart once you take out the rug, the foundation, the cornerstone, So, and it seems a little bit weird to say at first, but that was my conclusion after like really doing a deep dive 10 years of philosophy, is that if there's no God, there's no such thing as right and wrong. And that's that. And you know who agrees with me? Every freaking atheist, every real atheist agrees with me, whether that's from Nietzsche, Sartre, Camus, or even up to Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins very famously said, morality is an illusion. And he was brave in saying that. And that's why I respect Nietzsche. And that's why I respect Dawkins, is because they had the balls to say that if there's no God, and I don't think that there is, then there is no such thing as right and wrong. We are just matter in motion. We're just bugs on a rock in a void. And maybe it is a good thing that we all die in the heat death of the universe.
I think you put it a lot better in that way, and I would agree. I think you can still be a good person or a moral person without that foundation. However, when it comes to describing the roots of that and actually breaking it down, staying logically consistent, that is more a better way to say it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the Christian God either. I mean, this is philosophy, right? Like we're just talking about there needs to be a transcendent source. So it doesn't mean that it has to be the Christian God per se. I think that it is, and that for other reasons, but it doesn't need to be the Christian God. I'll say one last thing though, is that I used to be like, oh no, somebody can still be a good person and not be a theist or somebody who believes in God. But the highest virtue, especially in the Christian tradition, the highest virtue is loving God. And so if you actually can't be a fully moral person, you can be a generally moral person, but you can't be a fully moral person. But that's the whole point of Christianity, is that everybody falls short anyway. There's no way to be a perfect, ethically perfect person. And that's the whole point of the Savior anyway. So anyway, thank you for listening to my philosophical rants.
TED Talk.
What, you're gonna gong me? Fine, I'm out
Hold
of
on,
here.
I could have given you the train whistle.
Okay, at least it didn't tune down. I'll take the train whistle. Well, but that's the problem. To get it back to the left is that's why they're in such an ethical conundrum. Politics is all about imposing your ethics, and the left has convinced Christians that they're not allowed to impose their moral values. How many times have you heard you can't legislate morality? You can't legislate morality. Get your God out of our government. But really all legislation is moral, is moral axioms or moral imperatives. So the only question is whose morality.
They're neither moral nor majority. Pretty sure that's a Green Day lyric.
Well, that's what the
How fitting.
Yeah,
that's what the culture war, quote unquote, is all about. Is fighting over whose morality is the most true. If you really break it down, and on these issues, some people believe it's the moral, righteous thing to do to transition children. Other people think that's horrible. And some people use objectivity to explain their position, and some people don't even know what that word means anymore.
Well, just like there's Christians that are perfectly fine with transitioning children. Do you know what I'm saying? Little do they know that it's literally the worship of Baphomet. The whole idea of it surrounds that. It's like people don't get that, but it's literally true. That is the whole point around all of it. That's why it's increasing. That's why you see all these people who are trans wearing a lot of satanic symbolism, on their bodies. It's all about that. So I don't know, man. I feel like people should just do whatever they're comfortable with when it comes to religion. Personally, I studied a bunch when I stopped being a Jehovah's Witness. I studied a bunch of religions, and they all kind of seem the same. That doesn't mean I don't believe in a creator or whatever, but when it comes to religion, I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the three major religions all come from the same Genesis. They all, the Abrahamic religions, as they call them.
Yep, the first books of the Bible came from the Jews.
And the Muslims also use it. I mean, they bastardize it, but you know what I mean.
Well, technically, if you were to compare the two religions, if you look at what is like I can't think of the book, what it's called, but the Jewish book, Torah says Jesus rests in piss or in hell.
That's the
Talmud.
Talmud.
Talmud, yeah. And then if you look at what Islam says about Jesus, they talk highly of him, actually. And I'm not defending one against the other. I'm just saying a lot of Christians would defend one against the other, Christian people of Christian faith. And it's like, I never understood that, but that's
because the Talmud's supposed to be a secret.
Right.
We're not supposed to know about it. Because it's supposed to be taught only by a rabbi.
So the only thing that I would say about that, what you said, Joe, is that you kind of said that a lot of like religions have a lot of similarities, right? Is that kind of what you said? So yes and no. So I'm going to use the law of non-contradiction. So if religion A says that God is personal and religion B says God is not personal, so God is not personal would be like, oh, the universe is God or something like that. It's not a personal force. It's actually just like, it's more like the Force in Star Wars. It's not like a person. So those two things can't be true at the same time and in the same sense. God cannot be both personal and non-personal at the same time. So yes, religions do agree on some things, but where they don't agree, where they violate each other's if they violate the law of non-contradiction, then one has to be true and then one has to be false. So for example, Hinduism, if Christianity or Judaism or Islam, because those are all religions that believe that God is a personal being, Hinduism and Buddhism, they follow a different type of worldview where God is not personal. It's more like a mystical force, or the universe is somehow God. So the only thing that I really will stick to is saying that yes, religions do have similarities, but where they actually directly contradict each other, one must be right and one must be wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Is that
I was
fair, I
just mostly
guess?
talking about no matter the religion, they always it's about, to me, it's about power for man, not for God.
Mm.
Do A, you're in trouble with God. Do B, you're in trouble with whatever the force is. Don't do this, you're in trouble. Do this, you won't be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's like a control, a form of control to me, and that's why I say I'm not a big religion guy personally. I mean, I'm right. I can see the attacks on Christianity over any of the others in real time, but like me coming up Jehovah's Witness and stuff and seeing what that was like, and just I feel like man has turned the idea of religion into a way to control people through the fact that what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And then religion was created around the Bible, even though the Bible tells you you can worship God without a church multiple times.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't, I don't go to church. I do believe in God.
I don't
or
either,
a
though.
creator.
I'm not a very religious person. Like, I actually am not. I just believe what's true or what I think is true. You know, so if I think that Christianity is I just think that it's true. And so I'm compelled to believe it, whether or not the church has been infiltrated and corrupted. I totally agree with that. And I think that, I think that good people need to get involved. That's the thing. You know, it's the same thing as politics. Like, people just wanted to be left alone. And the problem is when good people want to be left alone and they don't get involved, then we leave it to the demons to infiltrate and corrupt and take all the power, you know?
Well, yeah, it's just crazy to me, like what you see, like Catholics. I'm gonna go there, like how they're not understanding, like they're so outraged that the Pope keeps saying, basically implying that we need to allow anybody through our borders. And what they don't get is that Catholic Charities was making millions off of human trafficking and relocation. And it's like, until you wake up to people don't want to realize that their own religions are pretty corrupt anymore. They've been around for years and years and years, hundreds of thousands of years, and they've been corrupted all the way down to the core at this point. And people don't get that, And I'm not saying every priest or whatever is bad, or every preacher is bad, or anything along that. I'm just saying, as a whole, it's all been kind of corrupted, and that's why I'm just you don't need it to believe in God. So I just feel like people should just kind of figure out their own way to God, I guess is my point. You know what I mean?
Well, Jesus said, I am the truth, I am the life, I am the way, and no one comes to the Father except through me. And that is a pretty bold claim. You know what I mean? So you can't just find your own way, essentially. So, but it's up to everybody to investigate that themselves.
Well,
and
that's true, but you don't need a church to do that either. He didn't say.
I agree. And I do agree with you that there's a lot of corruption, but I will say I don't think that the Gospels themselves, the historical documents, have been corrupted. There's a very popular a trope, an atheist trope, like a Reddit tier atheist trope that, the Gospels, they've been translated 5,000 times, and so we actually don't know what they really said. No, we know exactly who wrote them, when they wrote them, and what they said, like, to the T. So it's up to everybody to actually investigate the Gospels as a historical matter. And so I totally agree. I'm not a big religious person, actually. I just believe it's true historically.
Yeah.
And so
I
just encourage everybody. And I think it would be great to do a whole separate show on this type of topic. Because
I almost wonder if what they're saying is because of how many Bibles there are, different versions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't pay attention to Reddit. So or atheist.
Wise man.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're trying to say, but that's what it sounded like to me. But I just don't know. Like, how do you have so many versions of it? You know what I mean? That's like weird. Why do we need a New Testament if the Old Testament's the original? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's like, because we needed to be friendlier? Like, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But it's all neither here nor there. Like, you just need to figure out what's best for you and find your way there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. either God exists or God does not exist. And I think that's a very reasonable statement. It adheres to the law of non-contradiction. Something can't be true and not true at the same time and in the same sense, you know? So either God does exist or God does not exist. And I think it's kind of interesting how many people haven't just Googled, hey, are there good reasons to believe that a creator God exists? It's like one Google away. The universities, the commies in the universities pretty much convinced everybody that like religion is all just fairy tales and they didn't even study philosophy for 5 seconds.
That's a funny bumper sticker. The truth is just one Google away. Or God. But it kind of gets us back to the point of, you know, what's it going to take? Look at all these contradictions. The left is contradicting itself. Look at how violent they are. But all it took is one Google search to look up any of this stuff, and people have just been consciously or unconsciously avoiding it. And they're not motivated to seek out the truth, because I think deep down, if you're intelligent enough, and I know people like this, I think they're afraid to dive deeper, to do that one search, because then it opens up Pandora's box and they have to question their entire ideology. And I know, like I said, I know smart people who you know, are on the fence about this stuff, where I'm like, you believe that pretty similar, you just don't want to admit it, because if you actually dove into it, you would think that. So you just stay out of it.
Questioning your own beliefs is painful. I mean, it hurts. But you know what? At this point, it's like almost like working out. Like you get sore after like lifting weights, and it like you get sore the next day, and it actually kind of feels good. I don't know if you guys like know what I mean. It's like it actually feels good to me, like questioning my own beliefs. I love it. I try to do that every day.
Yeah, it's the best.
That's I mean, it's part of what I live for in some ways. I mean, I don't question every single belief all the time, but it's good to, as a self inventory, to say, is this actually true though? And that's, you know, that's how I got here as a post libertarian. Is I've talked about this many times, where the state is evil. It's just nothing but violence and all this, and we got to live in an anarchist society. And then I realized, that's not in line with reality, actually. Even though my principles are ideal, they don't line up with the world that we live in. So that's how I ended up here on the post-republic.
Well, Chopper Dave said some people's psyches are too weak to go down the hole, but it's not even that they're too weak. It's that they're, what would you call it? It's like a narcissism almost. That's not the right word, I don't think, but it's like they don't want to prove themselves wrong. I do it all the time. Like I just went on my show the other day and I admitted that I was wrong about Obama canceling the what do you call it? Smith-Mundt Act. That's not what happened at all. And it was actually a Republican that brought forth the bill that altered it a little bit, but it didn't cancel propaganda regulations. I don't have a problem with it, but some people, it's not that they couldn't handle it, I don't think. I mean, maybe like some of the super rabbit hole-y stuff, frazzle dip, stuff like that, if they wanted to dig into that stuff. But like, just to question yourself, to not be able to question yourself and what you believe, that's more of a pride. I guess pride would be a good pride thing more than anything. Like, you're too proud to be like, shit, I'm going to have to admit to people around me that I was wrong. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to.
But there's such a unfortunate aspect to that, because you actually build your credibility when you say that. When you say like, oh man, I was wrong about that. Then people will be like, oh, I trust this person. So I think people in politics should say, hey, I was wrong more often. So the pride is stopping them from admitting it. But at the same time, like overcoming that pride of admitting it, there's actually something better on the other side of like credibility and honesty and people respecting you and, and you growing as a person.
I just wish Trump would do that with the vaccine. Just admit you were wrong.
Well,
on that,
yeah.
At least he stopped talking about it.
Well, hey, he came out there with Bobby and was like, hey, vaccines are causing autism. Yeah, that's kind of, and also
he questioned it. He questioned the data from Pfizer, remember?
He did. Yeah, that was
they melted.
I will give him that. He did start to peel that back. But I think like later on, a few days later, he said it was still the best thing ever. So he's stubborn in that way. I mean, I think it's.
Well, he's a proud guy, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's be real. That's what makes
you
it
know,
funny.
how
I hold Trump to different standards. I know that's weird for somebody like me to say, but I do. I really do.
Well-
he's in a whole nother position. Like it's yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
I think a lot of it too is that he knows that the whole COVID thing was just a farce, and that they were using. I mean, not to rehash all that, but you guys remember just as much as I do that it was we need this before we can reopen. It was ventilators, and then it was now we need masks before we can reopen, and then it was now we need a vaccine before we can reopen. What comes after vaccine at that point? Nothing. So I think the reason he held this vaccine up to the standards that it did is because it would allow him to give them what they wanted and have the choice for it, and at the same time start opening up the economy again, which it ended up recovering because of that. I think that's how he looks at it. So he thinks it's great, but he'll also question it, which means he knows he was lied to. And
well, he's trapped in terms of how he's promoted, the father of the vaccine, but also, he was always against mandates, which it would have been interesting. Would the left have revolted if Trump instituted the vaccine mandate? Would we be in topsy-turvy land?
Oh,
I know.
It's hard. I almost think that they would be like, he's finally being presidential, because I think they're more committed to vaccines than.
No, they were against the vaccine when
Oh,
he
yeah.
was talking about it.
They were like, we're not taking anything Trump puts out until January 21st. And then
They
they're
would
like,
have been the freedom fighters. I mean, I'm just trying to conceive of, because it was so. But obviously, Trump would never do that. So this is just a crazy hypothetical I'm throwing out there. But
yeah, that's if you believe in the multiple universes thing, then that's a universe somewhere out there that we're not in. But yeah, that would have been how that went down, because they were all like, no, I ain't taking the Trump vaccine. I remember it clear as day.
No, I know.
There's a few night show hosts that said, talk show hosts at night that said that, wasn't there? At least one.
Well, Kamala Harris said it.
Oh yeah, she said it too. I didn't even.
But that's the thing, though, is Trump. Unlike Tylenol, Trump has said, like, I'm the father of the vaccine. This is great, and they're like, yeah, no, you're right, but only because Biden was in there to mandate it. Like, they're following the left's logic is like doing a Rubik's cube. I mean, it's
your best bet.
That has logic to it, so it's probably something I can't make a metaphor for.
To try to keep up with the left's logic, the best thing you can do is just put your head in a toilet and flush it over and over, and hope that helps somehow. That's the way I look at it. You can't
square that circle.
Yeah, it's
like
no logical way to do it.
Like playing poker with a tarot deck.
Yeah, it's just there's not any way to do it. You can't do it, man. I mean, you can try, but you'll go crazy, because look how they are just holding them beliefs. They're all crazy. They all got the empty, crazy eyes, and it just makes you crazy.
Yep. It's already broken this podcast trying to figure out how they think,
It'll be a weekly segment this week in Leftist Logic, where we all like lose our minds and throw things at our computer.
I've already ordered a tent to go set up on the sidewalk uptown.
Yes. Well, should we move on to our flagship segment? Does everybody have a cuck of the week that they're willing to put in the running?
I've got two, and I don't know which one to put in.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have either Steve or Adrian. You guys want to go first?
I go first, but before we get there,
it's the cuck of the week. Cuck of the week. Cuck of the week.
Gotta love it. All right, I'll pull this up.
While you're sharing your screen, I just want to remind everybody to like and subscribe, please. We really appreciate it. If you like what we're doing, what we're talking about, if you want to, see us more, please like, subscribe, and also follow Steve. Follow Joe at Joe Alex Show. Steve, where do you want them to follow you at?
Just look me up on X, Whitebread1, and then my links to everything else are right in my bio.
Cool. And then Adrian is at Bing Bing Bong.
Yeah, I need a new. I'll make a new account eventually. And once,
Adrian Bronfman. Bronfman. Yeah, and then follow me, obviously, Liberal Detox. But yeah, all right, let's hit it. Let's hit this cuck of the week.
The criminal system has had a disparate impact on black and brown communities. Let me lead with that. So when this person is committing 6 or 7 crimes, I don't know his or her story. Maybe they were abused as a child. Maybe they're hungry. So my remedy is to find their life story to see how we could help first. I have no desire to put them in jail, but I need to protect you, and that's the calibration that we have.
Oh God,
Was that Danny Bendejo?
who was that?
That's the mayor of Seattle.
Oh my gosh,
That explains it, doesn't it?
Yep.
it does. It explains a lot. Did you see the lady that's a reporter from Seattle that was telling Trump, hey, I used to have TDS, and then I realized they were lying to us about everything. Did you see that one?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's
Oh,
great.
that was a good. I'll send it to you.
She's like, now I think you're funny.
Yeah. All right,
Made me
here.
look prettier because I don't have TDS. Yeah. He was
All right,
funny.
Steve, you want to go?
Yep. I'm
Okay, go ahead.
all right. It's a little bit of a longer one, but bear with me.
Hi, can I interview you?
Sure. This is the Palestinian flag mixed with the trans flag.
Okay. What do you say to those who say that trans people would be killed in Palestine?
I mean, I don't know about that, but I know that I'm standing here today. At least 50% of the Gazan government needs to be trans women. Muhammad herself was, in fact, a trans lesbian.
Muhammad was a woman?
Yeah, Islam is a trans it's a trans religion. Muhammad herself was a proud trans lesbian. We have to protest, we have to put pressure on the Jews who control the world to make this happen. Like, they own everything. We have to make this.
Are you Jewish?
No, I'm Italian and Muslim.
How do you think that happened? How did Jews start owning everything?
I don't know. They use their dark magic, I guess.
I'm Jewish, and I would like to have some magic, but I don't feel like I have any magic. How do you think I can access this dark magic?
I don't know if you're maybe using your magic on me right now.
No, if I am, it's the first time ever hearing about magic.
Because we used to have like the thing where you would tie a stone to the leg of a witch and dunk her in the water, and if she floated, she was a witch.
Should we do that with Jews?
Yes,
Okay. Should we do that with Jews across the whole world?
everywhere. And there's the other one where you like put the Bible on one scale and the
You
Jew
can
on
tap
the
out
other.
whenever, guys.
And if they're lighter than the Bible,
Oh
they're
no,
witch.
I'm just getting started with this guy.
Should we just kill all the Jews, though?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to throw.
You shouldn't talk to the Zionists.
Here they are.
Yeah, they
Am
are.
I?
Don't talk to them.
I'm a Zionist?
They be posting on Instagram weird shit. Don't talk to them.
We're on YouTube, too.
Can I look up what you do on YouTube? Like
Well,
what
we're
is?
just having a conversation
I mean,
now.
not now. I'll do it later.
Yeah. Okay, so we should kill all the Jews. How should we kill all the Jews?
We should throw the Jew down the well, so that my country at least can be free.
Which year's your country?
There's no way.
Well, America.
Gotta
But
be
also
true.
This is
I mean,
culture
right here in
jamming,
Palestine.
right?
I know you. I know you. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
Be careful. This guy's pro-Israel. He acts like he's pro-Palestine. I will answer any question.
Yeah, please show your YouTube channel to the camera. Dunking all the Jews in the world in a well seems inefficient.
Just
Is there a
keeps
faster
going.
way to kill all the Jews?
I mean,
Hitler was pretty good at it, right?
yeah, he was.
Okay, so we should do it similarly to the way Hitler did it.
I mean, he wasn't quite fast enough, but
Right.
because like they were able to end the war before he was finished. But
Yeah. So
like,
he should have built more concentration camps.
I think that, and like now that we have like all these like fast food chains with their own ovens, like Pizza Hut, McDonald's.
No.
Dude, this is a troll.
we could
He's
revisit
trolling his ass.
Fast food
There's
chain
no way.
ovens
That's pretty
to
wild,
be
though.
the new ovens to do this, and it would go so much faster.
What do you do for work?
I'm a graphic designer, and I protest.
Meet Mike Kasich. Every photo of him is of him naked. FBI, I think this is.
Hi, can I interview you?
No, this is
Yeah, that
troll,
dude's a
man.
troll, bro.
Throw the jewel down the well. That's from Borat.
That's pretty funny though. I like him. I want to follow him.
Which one?
The troll guy.
I don't know if he's a troll.
No, I bet he's. Yeah, I bet he. I wouldn't be surprised if he works with Nate Friedman, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just.
Here's why I say he might not be. The woman that came up to him and it's like, don't talk to him.
No, because she doesn't know the context. I mean, I was surprised she didn't come up and say, like, who are you? Like, Islam is a trans religion? She didn't hear.
That's what I'm saying.
They have people at these events that are supposed to watch anybody they think's attendees and warn them about right-wing podcasters and reporters too. That's the thing. I don't know, man. I feel it could go either way. I mean, the left is that kind of stupid on a lot of things.
Maybe he kind of caught on because at the beginning he got a little bit sillier as it went on, but like at first,
the left has broken their brains that bad though. So it really, like you said, it could go either way. But that's so wild. That's got to be it.
Well, the fact that we're even questioning it does show you that it's at that level.
Muhammad herself.
I mean, it's great. I think he seems too smart to be this deranged. This is just my take. I think he's probably just there to troll. I wouldn't be surprised if he's an activist of some sort, just to make people look even crazier.
At the end of the video, he shows his YouTube channel and they say his name. I'll look into it and I'll report back next week.
Yeah, we'll get a follow up on it.
Dig.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Joe?
I don't know which one to do. They're both so cringe. What do you think? A dad who's being really cringe for his wife and daughters, or MGK? Which one do you think?
MGK.
MGK.
Yeah. Okay. Because they're both equally as cringe in my eyes. I mean, they're obviously liberals, the dad and the wife, but
it's local cringe for me.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, so here's MGK, apparently.
The volume.
Oh yeah, MGK is here.
Crazy. Somebody's got an echo going on. I don't know if it's you, Steve. Yeah. Are you guys hearing that?
I don't hear.
I am.
Okay.
It might be the CIA trying to get in.
We said a lot of buzzwords on this particular show.
Especially the T word, Joe.
I know. Train.
Okay, here, I'm gonna get in there.
Man.
Not sure if you guys saw this clip. Yes. He's like, I will be a martyr just like Jesus.
Yeah,
if you look into that pastor, he's like a
look at the people taking photographs. It was like an op for this guy. He was wanting it too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I saw the photo and people were like, this photo's going to be remembered forever. And the other person's like, yeah, not for the reason you think it is.
Well, I'm personally just glad that he got shot with a paintball or whatever that was. All right, ladies and gentlemen, who wins? Who wins the cuck of the week? Adrian, what's your vote?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with that pastor.
Got one. What you got, Steve? Who are you voting for? Oh, are you unmute, Mike?
Yeah, you're muted there.
Are you there?
Oh, We lost Steve.
Oh, we're
No?
having technical difficulties.
Well, while you figure it out, Joe, what's your vote?
About now.
Oh, you're good.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Joe.
Okay, MGK cringeology
All right.
101.
Break the tie, Joe. Or vote for me.
We got to know the truth about Steve's. We got to know if that guy's a troll. Because now I'm interested.
That's true.
I don't know.
If that's not a troll, he wins cuck of the century, probably.
Yeah. God. I guess we'll go with Detox.
Ooh, I got one. Well, I'm gonna go for Steve. So
because you got to be a cuck to intentionally do that to yourself.
That's the game show bell. It wasn't as dramatic as I thought it would be.
I'll take it. I'm taking it.
No, I'll give you this too.
Who gave Adrian a soundboard?
Hey, it's my first time. I gotta get used to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trump 2028. That's all I gotta say. And yes, I do think we will return incrementally. We will return back to the constitutional republic from whence we once were. But for now, I mean, we're just going to have to come to terms with the fact that the United States is a global empire, and we will wield that power in a just way, at least until the pendulum swings. Any last words, gentlemen?
Godspeed.
Stay safe.
Stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. And follow all these guys. Follow Joe on X and on Rumble. Go to Rumble and follow Joe at Joe Alex Show. And follow Steve at Whitebread1. And follow me at Liberal Detox. All right. Love you guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Do all those things. You know we love you.